Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Rise Factor. Today, joining me is BDM superstar Daniel, who I've been following for a while and was really eager to get on to the podcast and have a conversation because I don't actually really know Daniel very well, but I have been a long time cheerleader from the sideline. So, Daniel, welcome to the Rise Factor.
Thanks for inviting me, Sarah.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you here. So, Daniel, for those that do not know who you are, can you let the audience know who's Daniel?
Yeah, so I'm Daniel O'Keefe. I come from Waterford in Ireland. I came to Australia about 2 years ago now, to kind of further my career in real estate. I worked in real estate in Ireland for about 8 years before I came here.
Mm.
So I'm in real estate about 8 years about now, done sales, leasing, commercial kind of rental and sales back in Ireland. And then I moved to Australia, worked in a company for 6 months doing leasing, and now I'm into the BDM field as well. I play rugby for Powerhouse Rugby Club. Used to be captain of a couple of teams back home as well in Ireland. So yeah, that's mostly what I do on the weekends. Play some social tag rugby as well.
Awesome. So, tell us more about your journey. What led you to come here to Australia, Daniel?
Career opportunity, I suppose, Sarah, you could say. When I was back in Ireland, it was, that job role would have been what I was doing for the rest of my life, unless I own my own business. Ireland's kind of a little bit behind Australia in terms of career advancement. When I was in my job, I was in a small company, two directors. I was the only employee, so it was kind of everything was kind of juggled with me to do. So when I moved to Australia, everything's more like subrogated into divisions of roles. So moving here with my fiance as well, it's been a journey. Still learning, still taking on everything on board from people, but that's the reason I moved here.
Yeah, awesome. So, you've worked across both sales and
Yeah.
rentals. So, you've got very well-rounded experience. What do you think is the main thing that has shaped your perspective as a BDM today?
I think no one from a in the sales world, BDM is not just about property management, as you well know. You're kind of juggling a lot of hats when you're a BDM. So I think having that being involved in sales and understand how the process works for an investor, I
Mm.
think having that experience before as a salesperson and bringing that over to the BDM field has definitely helped me from the very start knowing how an investor needs, how the sales side of it works, apologies, and then obviously moving into the investor side on how everything works with kind of, rates and kind of unconditional settlement dates and stuff like that, and how to approach an investor rather than actually just like working in property management and then trying to go into BDM.
Yeah. And what surprised you the most about the Australian market the difference between the Irish and the Australian real estate market? What surprised you the most?
Funny enough, it's the settlement dates for the
Oh,
sale.
okay.
In Ireland, you could be minimum you're waiting 3 to 4 months for a property to settle. That's the earliest.
Wow.
So solicitors, lawyers, conveyancers here are a lot quicker than back in Ireland, I must say. Uh,
Yeah.
it's you wait a long time for it to be waiting for an investor to come to the market, etc., etc. So that's definitely the biggest thing I found since I came here.
Yeah. So did that take you a while to adjust, like with how quick everything is, and especially in Melbourne?
Absolutely, everything's so quick here. You have to be on. You have to be on your game all the time. Like it's so fast paced here. Like honestly, it's sometimes hard can be put up with, but then you have strategies to kind of keep that and keep up to that pace.
Yeah. Well, talking about strategies, Daniel, so you're known for your proactive mindset. Can you
Yeah.
share a time when thinking ahead really made a big difference to one of your clients?
Yeah, absolutely. So in our job here, I think I'm talking to an investor that came through one of our sales opens.
Mhm.
So they haven't purchased the property yet. They've just purchased one last week. And I've been up to date with them, keeping them in touch with what's going on, what the market's like, what the rental expectation would be, and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So I'm kind of speaking to them nearly 3 months now.
Wow.
So I suppose kind of early reach is probably the biggest thing, and being consistent with the follow up and engagement with the investors. How I found my success so early in Australia. I'm
Yeah.
only like I don't know if you've probably seen, but I'm only in BDM I think 9 months now.
Yeah, yeah, that's a fan. Well, you say only 9 months,
Yeah.
but I know some BDMs that have only been a BDM for 9 months that are doing more than some BDMs that have been doing it for, 20, 30 years. So I think even though you've been a BDM for a shorter time period, you have definitely made a mark in here in the Melbourne market, especially, where you work too. So tell us about the areas that you service, Daniel, for those that aren't familiar.
Yeah, so the company I work for, Woodards in Carlton North, obviously most people know Woodards. We go from the Mornington Peninsula up to Maston Ranges, but the area that we service anywhere between up to Epping, the whole way down to Brighton. So we service a big area.
Mhm.
But my field would probably be Carlton North, Fitzroy North, East Melbourne, South Yarra. So that would probably be the biggest areas we service. Or
Yep.
so
And because you aren't initially from here, so how do you stay in touch with what's happening in all of the different suburbs that you service for your
Yeah,
clients?
so we have a lot of, I network with a lot of people, as you may know already. So I'm involved with a lot of like mortgage brokers, financial planners, kind of other industries as well, that guys that are involved firsthand before the investor gets to me. I
Mm.
already know what they're looking for, what, the trends are before there. That's how I speak to the guys with networking. Then obviously just knowing the local markets from the sales agents we have here, what way the investors are coming to the market, what they're looking for. And then there's local trends as well, just like following up with people, like small little things. Like we have a cafe next door. I talk to a girl in there regularly. She tells me who comes in and like the conversation that people have. And small little details like that make a massive difference.
I like that. That's a great one. I think you made a point there. It's just like those small little things. So it's like, what are you consciously doing, those to do those small little things, or like what some of us say in trainers, it's like those one percenters. So talking about one percenters, Daniel, as BDMs, there's so much competition out there, right? And I feel like we're always competing with ourselves, though we shouldn't be just necessarily competing with other people. So I want to know, as a BDM, and the listeners, I'm sure will be eager to know, what do you do to ensure high quality experience for the clients that work with you?
That's a good question. I think being, as you said, proactive is one. Kind of the biggest thing for us, or for me, is more to follow up the constant knowledge of the market, giving them the information that others aren't,
Mm,
asking them questions that other people aren't asking them.
mm,
Uh, and the biggest thing that I have found as a BDM that's I think has come across my success is listening,
yeah.
just listening to the client. Like eh, what I find is like the experience they've had in the past. Like lately, this month, Sarah, we've had a lot of like transfer of managements from other companies, and the reason why they're calling us is because they're having a problem with agents. And just listening is the biggest thing I found. Massive. It's just asking the question, how's your journey so far?
Mm.
How's your real estate journey so far? That's the biggest question I ask everyone. I sit there, listen to the answers they give me, and then I kind of specialize my conversation around the answers they give me.
I love that. Yeah, because I actually wrote down being like, tell me more about the questions that you ask, but you just you just did it.
Yeah, one of the biggest ones as well is there's always like a pain point of an investor and an owner. So I always ask like, what's the two biggest things you're looking for off a real estate agent?
Hmm.
And more often than not, they ask for it's more often than not it's communication is number one
Mm,
and interaction.
yeah.
And how I kind of give you a little secret here, but how I turn it into how I get the signature is and how to help the client is I relate back to the Google reviews that clients give me. So
Hmm.
most often than not, that most reviews give me is high communicator and high interactor. And then I shoot a link through to the person before obviously they're happy to move to us. And
Yep.
they're kind of impressed by that. And then the last thing as well is social media engagement. Like I know you follow me on socials. It's probably the biggest one I found so far. Just signed up my first client last week from TikTok. So
Awesome. That's so good. And
yeah,
that's what it's about. So you're clearly demonstrating like trust very early on.
yeah,
You're being proactive in sending them through like reviews. So it's like, don't just take my word for it, but
absolutely.
here is what the clients who have worked with me are experiencing. And I think we can even take it a step further, Daniel, to say, and because I've watched your social media, it's you do a really good job of making people feel certain things and taking them on the journey with you. And you're very clear, precise with your communication. Do you think that comes from your background? Because I know that you've got a bachelor. Wait, is
Yeah.
it an honors of bachelor? Tell us about that.
It's an honors in business management.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a bit different. I got obviously a degree back in Ireland.
Mm.
So like having that management background as well and how to, I've never actually, funny enough, like the companies I work for is mostly real estate, but dealing with that kind of background side as well, and dealing with how to deal with the management from start to finish. I think that's how I'm using my approach when I speak in my videos. And obviously, I have a funny noise coming out of my mouth. A lot of people don't understand my accent, so I think that's as well as probably more of a standout point for me. That's kind of I can use to my advantage as well.
Yeah, for sure. So what were some things that you've incorporated from having that knowledge and experience into your role as a BDM? Can we explore that?
Of course, that's a good question. I think Good question. I think my previous experience with my degree as well, and the people I've worked with in Ireland as well, we covered a broad range of real estate. It wasn't just sales, residential. We used to help and advice on putting them in certain directions in terms of like mortgage and details like that. So I used to deal with a different amount of clients. And then, as I said, I had a senior role back in Ireland. So having that experience come into BDM, I could transfer that knowledge and experience with sales and
Mm.
dealing with clients as well and contractors, stuff like that, and dealing that into my videos, for example. Just educating people on my experience. I think that's probably the standout point I've had so far.
Yeah. So do you use that to your advantage then, Daniel, like your credibilities? Do you like make that like one of your points of differences when you're speaking to a potential client?
Yeah, in terms of the experience of social media, Sarah, sorry.
No, well, both. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think it definitely is social media side. I think once I kind of have a system here, once I meet with the client, I always send them through the links in my social media. So when they look it up, they have information from my videos. We're just giving 30-second videos on how investors go to the market,
Yeah.
other residential changes coming into effect in November, different types of ideas. And when a client sees that and the interaction people have with my videos, they're like, there's no other BDM as such really doing that at the moment, I don't think.
Mhm.
I think it's mostly sales agents you see online. So given that knowledge information through a video, people engaging with that video, a client's kind of impressed already before they even.
Yeah. For sure, because it's like, oh, well, the other person that I'm talking to aren't doing TikTok videos or aren't showcasing my property on TikTok. Like, that's a huge advantage. Like, imagine going to a presentation or even before going to an appraisal, sending through, like, this is a strategy that I have, and
Yeah,
being able to show, like, the type of reach and impressions and analytics that one of your videos gets, as opposed to just I guess the normal marketing strategy for a BDM is, yeah, we're going to do a premier listing on
yeah,
realestate.com and, we're going to do 2 opens for a week, which I think is very much like, let's just be real, boring now, Daniel. Like we live in digital age where we need to
yeah,
be thinking smarter. And also we're seeing new generational people coming into the market now. We're not just targeting investors that currently have investment properties. We're targeting new generation of people who actually are very wealthy and are very smart about creating wealth that are looking to come in, and they are on TikTok and they aren't doing videos on Instagram. So you're catering to both. You're leveraging your current clients. I mean, like, this is what I do. Is your current agent doing that? And I would probably say they would say no. And then new investors that are coming to the market with, Gen Z, they're the ones who are on TikTok and going to see your face. So I think it's a really smart strategy. So Daniel, a lot of the time though, I get BDMs and I hear this all the time. It's like, oh, I can't do videos. I'm not good at it. People aren't going to hear what I say. So I know that you're a self-starter. What would you say are the habits that we need to instill as a BDM to stay on top of our game and do these videos?
I think you touched on it earlier. You said the top 1%. I think just having that extra 1%. What can I do different that the other three agents that walked in the door didn't do or did do?
Mhm.
Um, I think just do it. Like, just do the video. Like, I only started videos in January. Never done a video before. Never spoke before. I have a challenging difference. I don't sound Australian. I don't look Australian. So I think it was just getting in front of the video and just doing it. The first couple of videos, I didn't. I actually never posted them.
Mm.
And I was like, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. And then one day I just said, you know what? I don't really care. I don't really care what people think. Let's just post it, see what happens. And then every day I'm trying to put it up a video. It doesn't have to be 5, 6, 7 videos a day. Just
Yeah.
do it. And I kind of give myself little kind of triggers before I do a video, like bouncing on the spot or just saying stuff in the mirror, just to kind of get myself G'd up to go, or have a coffee just before you do a video.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just being different. I think that's what's, because as you said, like, every person that sits, you sit at the lounge table, three other agents have walked in, walking the fourth person do differently. Do I want to give the whole speech of premium listing, premium this, premium that, or do I want to just be different? I got last month alone, I got 28,000 views on my TikTok, on my Instagram videos.
Yeah.
And
Tell us more about that your videos. So for BDMs listening, going, okay, well, I want to get leads from my social media, and instead of just like showing up, can you tell us about like some of the videos that you've done that have been successful? Because I think everyone's like, okay, that's all good, Daniel, but like, what's the video?
And more the informative videos. So I've done a challenge for the last 30 days of doing one video a day. Every week is a different topic. Like last week was investors. This week's going to be like recommendations, whether it be podcasts, which I mentioned you as well, a book or anything like that. But I think what would be the informative videos, giving them knowledge on the market, new changes to legislation, what in kind of suburbs are hot right now. Like the one I signed up last week was I said that in changes in the laws coming in, that the rental increase changes going from 60 days to 90 days in November, and she didn't know that. So my agent never mentioned that to me yet. So I
Yeah.
just said, oh, that's interesting. I've missed her for a while, and then she gave me a phone call and just said, yeah, I love your videos. She said, I've been following you on TikTok for a while. It just came up on my For You page, and I signed her up last week. So I think just when you're making videos, just make them knowledgeable, make them, relevant, and just, as I said, like the topic and the people that I'm using are between the ages of 25 and 34. Like
Mm.
90% of my audience is that age. So
Wow.
just, know your market, know your audience, like schedule your videos and kind of shape them towards who's viewing your videos.
I think that's such great advice, Daniel. Like, so for any BDMs that are listening, what Daniel just said is know your audience, because if you don't, then how do you know what content to put up that's going to be relevant if you don't even know who's watching you, perhaps not even engaging with you, but watching you, because social media tells you those stats and analytics. So I think that's phenomenal that you know that and that you're targeting to that. And I like that you said is like, just do it, like I share as well. I had a lot going against me when I first started doing videos, like so much. I won't share it on today, Daniel, because I'm sharing it on my presentation in a couple of weeks, but so much was going against me. But there was just this voice I remember that just said, if you don't do it, the cost of not doing it is going to be greater than the cost of doing it. And if I look back now, that was nearly 8 years ago. I'm so glad that I did, because now I don't have a hesitation to do that video, because someone out there needs to hear that message or wants to work with me. It's just that one video that you do at the right time will get to that one person, and that's all it takes.
Absolutely, and I'm not saying it's all sunshines and rainbows. It's sometimes hard doing the videos, like, as you know, like, you have a bad day, something happens, get a bad phone call here to say I don't want to do this video, but it's just
Yeah.
trusting the process. I think, as you
Yeah.
say, that one video will take you to the next level.
And I think there's something empowering too. It's like, if you are having like a not so good day and you do that hard thing, even though you didn't want to, but then there's that feeling that you get afterwards, like, I actually did that thing. I actually showed up, and I feel good about showing up. I think there's that feeling of accomplishment that we can get after we do that hard task, even though we weren't feeling our best. And, as BDMs, property managers, sales agents, like a lot of the time, we need to be on our A game all the time, every single day, no matter what is necessarily happening in our lives. And that's why I say we're kind of like chameleons in a BDM role. We need to blend in to our environment, to our clients, and in doing that, we become also really resilient too. And there's power in being resilient, but also taking the time to have some solitude and reflect and, I suppose not just being in a hustle mentality and on the go all the time. So, how do you apply principles then, Daniel, to make sure that you're looking after yourself whilst you're still growing someone's rent roll?
Personally and professionally, as in like what do I do to get myself there?
No, like what do you do to help you not burn out or to help you,
Okay.
yeah, be the
Yeah.
best person possible every day?
I think for me is I have to have a structured day from like I set my alarm to get up for like 5:36. I have to go to the gym most days because it gets me in the mind frame.
Mm.
A big thing I'm doing lately is AI journaling. So for example, I'm writing in on like ChatGPT, people that I follow and authors that I like about, how to have a successful day or, just journaling. I try to do it twice a day if I can. It's once at the moment, but I am trying to do it twice. That's probably number two what I'm doing at the moment. And then just reading a little bit, just reading different things on growing leadership, reading a lot from Chris Teller at the moment. Chris Teller is quite good.
Yes, he's great. Yeah.
And I just finished a book called Go for No. I'm not sure if you've ever heard that
That's
book.
another great book. Yeah.
I'm reading that one at the moment. So I'm finding these books and I'm going back to these as well, that are kind of inspiring me every day to kind of keep myself there and not burn out. And then just on the weekend, spending time with my fiance, getting outside for walks, and just trying to switch off for the weekend, or even just one day, just because. For me personally, I'm very invested in being successful, so I'm trying to. I put everything into it, so I need to try and learn a bit better to switch off in the moments I need to switch off.
Yeah. I think that's clever what you said in the moments, right? It's like just pick a moment that even if it's through the day, it's like having those moments that you can consciously switch off, whether that's just making sure that half an hour every day you're eating lunch and you're not looking at your phone or on the computer or making a phone call. It's just like in that moment for half an hour, you're eating your lunch and that's it. Because that small pause throughout your day is going to make sure that you are so much more productive and proactive then to go all in for the next half of the day. What's something you've learned on the rugby field that you've carried into real estate, Daniel?
You deal with a lot of personalities.
Yeah, okay.
Different teammates, different, and you can put that together with clients as well. So definitely did learn a lot of different personality and how to be a chameleon, as I said.
Yeah. And what's your go-to productivity hack?
God, the go-to productivity hack. I think it's just getting yourself G'd up. I think just like I said, bouncing on the spot is a big one for me. Affirmations as well as I find that massive as well at the moment.
Yeah, cool. Favorite way to reset after a day that you've had and you've had a really bad client?
Using the sauna.
Ooh, okay. I like that. So, Daniel, if you could leave our listeners, whom many are BDMs now or future BDMs, what is one message about what it takes to succeed in this industry? What would it be?
Good question. I think just trying to be in that 1%. I think just how can I be different to other people? Because at the end of the day, most investors that you deal with, most of the time, are not first time investors. They've dealt with agents before. And how can you be different and how can you give them a different experience than the previous person sitting in your chair?
Yeah, I love that. Daniel, there's so much that you covered today, from your background from Ireland to coming to Australia, and I'm sure your directors are very happy that you did make the decision to come to Australia. From what you've taken from your business mindset into your BDM role. Thank you for sharing your secret when it comes to like social media and engagement with your clients, and your strategies for communication. Um, Daniel, we are really grateful that you've come on today. Yeah, I know it takes a lot sometimes to show up and you're like, oh, I don't know what Sarah's going to ask me, but you did it so well. And I think it's just a testament to how proactive you are and being like, yep, I'll come on. You didn't even hesitate when I asked you. So on behalf of the BDMs across Australia and New Zealand, thank you. For anyone that wants to reach out to you, Daniel, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
Just email or phone call. My email is just my name, D'O'Keefe at woodards.com.au, or you can just get me on socials as well.
Yeah, we'll pop your details in the channels. Thank you, Daniel, and well done on your success so far. I would love to get you on, once you've been a BDM after a year and see, what your lessons have been, anything that you've had to pivot on, and to get you to share more about your journey, and maybe we can dig deep into some of your numbers.
Absolutely. Look forward to it.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. I hope that you liked this episode. Please make sure that you connect with Daniel, and in true Sarah Cincotta style, keep rising.